please tell us more about, about, the poetry, or what tells us about certain kinds of approaches towards towards literature and society. So theories are explanations. Remember, a theory is an explanation of something. So when you are choosing a theory as your topic, as a topic of your dissertation, then you will actually be giving an explanation of an explanation. You understand? So because your dissertation is going to be an explanation. So if you take up a theory as a topic for your dissertation, then you are going to provide the explanation of that explanation, right? So, all right. So, okay, so I'll just stay with these 5 types, 5 categories that you can choose from, okay? So first thing on your sheet of paper, you have with you, what will be my focus? What will be the focus of my dissertation? And I can choose author, text, genre, history, theory. Okay. So broadly, you will find your area of interest within these 5 types, what your focus is going to be on. But as I said before, you must define your focus. You know, you can't start from anywhere, end anywhere, start from any place, or randomly without thinking about it, what you're going to be doing, where you're going to be going. No, that is going to make your dissertation very haphazard, very vague. It won't have a beginning or a middle or an end. Okay, so this is what you have to do. So I hope that's clear so far. So on one side of the page, you have focus, okay? Now linked with that, there is another aspect of choice of topic, and that is the kind of argument or the kind of approach you are going to take towards that topic. All right, so I'll repeat it, the kind of argument or the kind of approach you're going to take towards your topic. So say on one side, you have chosen one thing as your focus. Then on the other side, you will have the approach to that or the argument you're going to take for that. An example, if you have chosen Keats as an author, that is going to be your focus, Keats. Now you have to ask along with that, what is going to be your approach towards Keats? What is going to be your argument regarding Keats? Are you going to argue that Keats is not a representative romantic poet? Are you going to argue that though Keats is a romantic poet, there are many classical elements in Keats also? You can argue something, that is what the dissertation will have to be. It will have to be an argument, and an argument, of course, which will have different parts to it, but it will need to be an argument where you will define the approach that you're going to take towards that topic. So in other words, we can say that it's also a framework in which you can put your topic. Okay. So first of all, it's your focus. Secondly, it's your mode of argument. Focus, we can say roughly, is the subject matter. That is the subject, whether it's an author or a text, etc. The subject matter. And the mode of argument or the approach is how you deal with it, that subject matter. That is the framework in which you're going to see that subject matter. Okay. So here is your subject matter and here is your frame in which you're going to put that subject matter. Okay, so you're going to see that subject matter, whether it's an author, whether it's a time in history like 19th century or something, or whether it's a text, say the sonnets of Shakespeare. So whatever your subject matter is, you're going to put it in the center of a frame. And that frame will be your approach to that subject matter. Okay, so you look at it like that. If you find it easy to make notes in terms of diagrams, then you can put it like this. You can put subject matter in the center, which is also what you call the focus, and then around it you have the frame. Okay, right. So this frame means your type of argument or type of approach that you're going to have towards that subject matter. Now, why do we need to consider it in choice of topic? That's because when you give the title to your dissertation, so on one side, just put this also that, choice of topic will be seen in the title that you give to your dissertation. So आपको टाइटल के बारे में साथ साथ में सोचना है ना कि टाइटल क्या होगी. Title में आपका author या whatever the topic is, your subject matter is, that will be there in your title. And also there will be a approach towards that title. So you could say an analytical study of the sonnets of William Shakespeare. So what does it tell us? What does this title tell us? Tells us that the topic is the sonnets of William Shakespeare, and the approach is an analytical approach. Okay, so so approaches, just like we have lots of types of subjects on one side, which will be the focus of our dissertation. On the other side, we also have different types of approaches. So now, very simply, we can think of a few broad approaches. For your purpose, your dissertation here, it's one of the first major long or lengthy essays that you're going to, extended essays that you're going to write. So it's a good opportunity for you to practice something which is little more detailed, little more focused, and little more organized than your normal exam answer. Exam answers are very short and they're not particularly well focused. They're a bit general. But in the dissertation, you have an opportunity to try out some good way of organizing your arguments. All right. This is what you're learning. This is why writing a dissertation has been put into the syllabus. All right. So don't think that it is something which is a really troublesome thing for you. Take it as a good opportunity to practice the art and craft of writing an extended essay. And when you write an extended essay, you start with the drawing board. You start with a large sheet of paper, and on that, you start with what your subject matter, your area of interest is going to be. Let me say one or two things more about defining your subject matter or your topic. One is that as you think about different things that you're going to write about, I'll just try and trace the process. That you may think, okay, I have read some English literature. I've read some books in American literature. I've also studied some drama. I know a little bit about the history of English literature. So there are a number of things in my mind that I have read already. But in themselves, they cannot become a dissertation. I have to think about whether there is something that needs to be found out. That maybe somebody has not actually done this work before. So when you think about, let's say, a Virginia Woolf, like I gave you the example of Virginia Woolf. Now, you can't say stream of consciousness in Virginia Woolf. That is my dissertation. A study of the stream of consciousness technique in Virginia Woolf. Sorry, that's not a good topic for a dissertation. You do get this question in exams. Uh, Describe the stream of consciousness technique used by Virginia Woolf, or how does Virginia Woolf exemplify this trend of stream of consciousness, and so on. Like these exam answers are there, exam questions are there. But in a dissertation, why you won't choose this as a topic for your dissertation? Because, this is very important, because stream of consciousness is a topic which has been done to death. Okay? It has been discussed by so many people, and so many students have written unthinkingly, just copying from different materials and sources all about the stream of consciousness, put it there in their answers or their essays, and then just given it for evaluation. Hmm? I can tell you, as a teacher, as an evaluator, as an examiner, that it is no fun reading any such dissertation. Okay, an exam answer will not take so much time to read. So, as examiners, we check the MA exam papers and we mark them because, you know, every answer is short and it's number of marks we have to give. So that's it. But for a dissertation, which is a whole paper, for a dissertation, an examiner will have to spend some more time reading those 20 pages that you have written or typed. Now, when the examiner reads them, if the examiner sees that it's all the same stuff that has been said hundreds of thousands of times before, then the examiner will feel too bored and not the least bit interested, because it's very hard to say something new about a subject which has been written about so much before. So much before, right? Even if you take up, say, feminist idea, or in Virginia Woolf's A Room of One's Own. Now, that is a topic that you get for your questions in the examination. But if you say that, oh, I'm going to write a dissertation on feminist ideas in Virginia Woolf's Room of One's Own, then that also does not signal that you are doing anything new that someone else has not done before. Okay? So, what that means is that when you choose your topic, try to identify what is called a research gap. Please write that down. Research gap. What is a research gap? A research gap is something which is a gap in knowledge. That is something that we do not know already, or something that has not been investigated earlier, or not fully investigated earlier, or not fully examined earlier. Huh? Now, remember that if you take up something like feminist ideas in Virginia Woolf, and you say, oh, but you know, I want to say something about feminism which has not been said earlier, then you have a difficult task in front of you, in fact, because you will first have to justify why the critics who have written earlier on feminist ideas in Virginia Woolf have not done a good job. They have not given the answers, and therefore I'm going to give those answers, right? So if you haven't, done that you haven't even seen what are the critics and what are the faults in those critics, then you can't really claim that you are going to say something new on feminism in Virginia Woolf. Huh? You can say something new only if you have examined all the earlier writings on Virginia Woolf and you are able to critique all those writings and say, well, this is missing, this is missing, this is missing, this is missing, and therefore I have chosen to investigate this. Huh? But that's not very easy to do. So you're letting yourself in for some trouble, which is why it is better if you find some new area, or if you find some subject matter which may have scope for more investigation, which may have something which has not yet been explored, some research gap should be there. Huh? I give you the example of Keats. Now, everybody has seen or read criticism on Keats's odes. Huh? So, very famous odes by Keats and the sonnets and odes by Keats, which are there in every anthology. They are there in your MA courses. And you don't have to repeat all that thing. But there is some area in Keats's writing. For instance, I have a copy of a collection of poems by John Keats. It is called Fugitive Poems. Now, I wonder if anyone has actually written a mini thesis or a dissertation or something on those particular texts by John Keats, the fugitive poems, you know, and why they are called fugitive poems, why they were put together in a collection with this name, Fugitive Poems. What is different in these poems from those that are known so well, like the odes of Keats? Hmm? Then I'm justified. Then I can say in the introduction of my dissertation that I have chosen to work on or to study or to examine the fugitive poems by John Keats. This is a collection that came out in blah, blah, blah. You can go on to give the background. And then you give the reasons why these poems were neglected. Hmm? Why was it that this particular aspect of Keats was not looked at earlier? So that is the sort of thing that you can do. That's why I was saying that identify the research gap. So on your notepad or your paper where you're making the notes right now, I hope you are making the notes right now. So on that paper where you've written focus of topic, subject matter, over there, write a question. It's very good to ask yourself questions right in the beginning. What is the research gap? What is the precise issue which needs to be investigated? Okay, so that is something that will make you very clear. Okay, try it today itself, when what I've said is just still fresh in your mind. Try it today itself and try and see how far you can go with number of new topics coming up in front of you. And you can take contemporary writers, you can take Indian writers, you can take writers from other countries, and you will find plenty of research gaps. So that is the concept of research gap. Be very conscious of that.